Have you noticed that some things don't seem to affect some in the same way they do others? Yet they choose not to compromise on their values and remain good people. This is because they are living through consciousness and from a place of love and empowerment, not from a place of fear. It is obvious that some of us are, in general, more influenced than others. There are influences in this world of both dark and of light. In fact, every single one of us hold both light and dark within. Many who live more from the dark than the light are under this illusion that they are doing the right thing, and perhaps that others around them are the cause of all suffering. They live unconsciously and either become quite enmeshed in or perhaps choose to ignore what is happening around them. From darkness we create fear, but fear is a barrier to love and empowerment. Even though I have been living consciously for a while, I realized I was starting to become too enmeshed in the events in the world around me. I started looking at life like it was a battlefield. I guess this has become true in a way in the events that we are seeing happening around us, but we do have a choice how we view these things. If we become too enmeshed and view the world like it's a battlefield, like everyone and everything is against us, it can take us away from our true purpose. We must be careful we don't fight fear with fear. Love will always win over fear. Through love we start to see cracks in the illusion that fear and control creates. We can either allow the fear and influence to take over our own world without questioning it, or we can see it exactly as it is and refuse to accept this as our truth. We choose each day whether to focus on the problem or focus on the solution. Each of us is the creator of our own world. We hold the prophecy within us of where our lives and other people's lives will head. The other day I was questioned about what I see prophecy as. I see prophecy as being a prediction of the future. But our future is changeable. It is always created through where we have come from, what we stand for, and the action that we choose to take. So we are constantly creating our prophecy without even realizing it. And if we change directions, then it becomes true that our prophecy is likely to also change. Many have said that we must live presently, which is most definitely true, but in doing so, we must recognize that how we choose to live in the present creates our future. If we live from a place of fear, negativity, hatred, jealousy, control, greed, etc., this is what will be created in the world around us. We have perhaps unconsciously suggested to the universe that we want more of those things, and it has listened and responded. Be mindful of what you are manifesting, and be careful of placing blame on those around you. At the end of the day, we choose where we place our thoughts and our breath. Low vibrational energies fix absolutely nothing. In fact, they create more problems. Each of us has the power within to change our own life and to make a difference to those around us. It won't be done while sitting in a place of fear, negativity, hatred, jealousy, greed, etc. We can only change our own life for the better from a place of empowerment, love, worthiness, fulfillment, abundance, etc. The phrase garbage in, garbage out comes to mind here. The unfortunate thing is that within our life, we end up recycling both our own and other people's unwanted garbage. Is it time to take the garbage out? I wonder how many of us are standing in this ginormous pile of garbage, to the point we cannot see a way out. Consider how much time and energy it might be using to stew on something that happened way back in our childhood. Because it's not just our childhood trauma we are dealing with at this point. It becomes much more than that. As the universe will keep sending similar lessons with a view that we might learn that lesson. But instead of seeing it as a lesson, we allow it to revalidate the past and create more fear within us. We reconfirm the belief that it is true, instead of taking the time to question our thoughts and upgrade our opinions. We manifest from where we are at right now, and it's important to realize that in all situations, the one common denominator is ourselves. We're seeing fear and control being created outside of ourselves on a mass scale at the moment. We need to be mindful of how we respond. Fear-based living will never be the right answer. It is becoming even more important than ever that we bring it back to love and gratitude. If we live in fear of what is happening in our outer world or what might happen, then could we potentially be missing the good things that are happening in our lives today? Time spent on worrying is time wasted at the end of the day. Now, that's not to say that we shouldn't do anything about what's happening outside of ourselves. Quite the opposite, actually. But it becomes very important that we center and ground and return to a place of love so that we can send the right vibration out to the world. Once we refocus on love, then we can make a true difference in this world as both individuals and a community. I'm realizing that it's important that we integrate our response to what is going on around ourselves in a very sensible and grounded way. Our contribution to our freedoms and liberties can be a positive thing, or they can create more fear. Many are starting to open their eyes to what is going on around them, and they're starting to move differently. Together, I have no doubt that we can create a massive change in this world, but only if we do so from a balanced place. Our time is a valuable resource, is it not? And if it is mostly spent staying informed with current events and what might be, then we could fall deep into a depression that is difficult to escape from. We live in an age where we can instantaneously obtain and absorb new information. Now, I'm not one to have a strict routine. I've always pushed against it. It doesn't fit my personality. But I am realizing more and more that I need to limit the time spent absorbing news and current events and maintain a routine that helps me focus on what is most important. It can become an addiction to look at the news and social media to see what is happening in the world. I used to avoid it as it tends to affect me in a negative way. But with the current events, I am realizing that it's important to stay informed. But we must be careful that we don't become fully submerged in the news and the happenings in the world today. We have lost the battle at the point we become so enmeshed that we start living our lives through fear. And so we start to look outside of ourselves at what difference we can make right now. Consider it from the perspective that small changes and actions add up. If we put everybody's small changes and actions together, then it can turn into a much greater change in this world. The truth is, I am only one person. But together, if we stand united, we become many. To look outside of ourselves and be supportive of those around us, we encourage and empower others to do the same. We are in the age of Aquarius, and we're starting to see our community come together once again for a common cause. We're seeing people realizing they need to take a break from technology with a view to center and ground themselves. We're seeing people re-look at what is most important to them. We're seeing people refocus on their loved ones. We're seeing people coming together more and more to discuss important issues. We're seeing people doing the self-work and breaking generational curses that have been around for a very long time. We're seeing people realize that love and freedom is more important than material wealth. There are positives that are coming out of what is happening in the world today. This will become more and more front and centre. While it is true that outside influences can cause issues in our lives, it is important that we respond from a place of empowerment and love, rather than from fear. I'm starting to realise that any kind of division between two people or more creates this illusion that when one wins, another loses. Could it be that we have only lost at the point that we buy into the illusion? Our outer world reflects the health of our inner world. If we recognise it as such, it gives us some useful insight as to what we need to heal and what can be changed to make our outer world more balanced. Let's centre and ground ourselves so that we can fully align with our truth and our purpose. And in doing so, each of us shines a light greater than we could even imagine. When we come together and combine each of our lights, we stand as one. At that point, fear and control cease to rule over our lives. Love and light for you in your journey. May you heal anything that still needs to be healed. May you stand in your truth and your power. May you know without doubt that you are worthy, amazing, and that you are enough. May you realise that love will always conquer fear, but that fear is the barrier to love. May we stand together with an open heart and an open mind, and move forwards united as one voice. It's time to stand together with a view to remove that divide that is being created within our society. What do we stand for? Do we prefer a more totalitarian approach where people are no longer seen or heard but instead told what to do? Or do we stand together for a freedom to choose? I find it interesting that freedom to choose is said to come with consequences, even when one isn't hurting another. To take away our freedoms removes our voice and our right to be heard. When does enough become enough? I stand for freedom. I stand for love. I stand for peace. I stand for harmony. I stand for hope. I stand for grace. I stand for humanity. What do you stand for? United we stand, in the hope that our world can come to a place where love and hope far outweigh fear. Unconditional love will always outweigh fear, because it is impossible for fear to penetrate our being when our armour is that of unconditional love and hope. We can only reach a place of unconditional love and hope when we are healed. So it is time to wake up and do that healing work if you haven't already. Blessings to you in your journey. May your eyes be open to your greatest abundance and truth. If you enjoyed today's video, I would encourage you to like and subscribe. My name's Rachel, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.